Hello, it's Richard here from 30daystosuccess.com, and I've made you this quick tutorial video because I want to demonstrate how you can create wind effect text like this using a free graphic design software program called Gimp. So before we begin this tutorial, you'll need to download the software from a website called gimp.org. And it's not an adult website. It's a rather strange and unusual name, I know, but Gimp is actually an excellent piece of free software and actually pretty much rivals Adobe's Photoshop, which of course is paid for software. I'd also like to credit the original creator of the video that I based this video on. It's someone called JX Tutorials, and this is their channel on YouTube. I don't know this person, but he creates a lot of graphic design tutorial instructional videos and posts them on YouTube. Now, a good friend of mine, Kathy Brown, inspired me to make this video because she'd seen my Facebook fan page where I created some banners using this technique you're about to see, and she particularly liked it, and so I sent her the link to the JX tutorial that's relevant to this design. But unfortunately Kathy felt that it was a little too quick and hard to follow, so I've basically recreated this video and slowed it down a bit, and I'll also provide a text file which, if you find that easier to follow, you're welcome to use. Okay, so let's begin. Once you've downloaded the software and installed it, you should see the following screen. So you should be seeing these three windows. You've got a toolbox on the left hand side, the actual image manipulation program in the middle, and a third window here which is your layers, channels and paths. Now don't worry too much about the technical side of things. You don't really need to understand that to follow this tutorial. So the first thing we need to do is open a new image, or if you like you can open an existing one if you have a particular background you like that you want to add the text to. But for this tutorial we're going to select new, and the size of the image is 640 by 400, but you can make it whatever size you like, and just click OK. Now this will form the background to our text. So what we need to do now is select the bucket fill tool here and make sure that you selected black as the colour, and then we just click in the space here and turn the whole thing black. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is make sure the foreground colour is white. So if we just click on this little arrow here, you'll see that the black and white flip over. Then go to your text tool, which is this one here. Select a font, and in my case I'm using Sans Bold. Size, I would recommend between 30 and 40. I'm going to use 30 for mine because I'm using quite long text, and if you like you can click this button here to center your text, and then simply click somewhere inside your background image here and a little text editor will come up, and this is where you can write your text. Now I'm going to put in a shameless plug, 30daystosuccess.com. Now if you click and drag somewhere inside your text, you'll be able to move it wherever you like, but obviously center of the screen is probably a good idea, somewhere like that. Now you need to go to layer, layer to image size. The next step is to duplicate your image 4 times. So if we click on this window here, the layers and channels one, make sure your image is selected, okay, and then click on this button here. It's like 2 television screens, and it creates a duplicate layer. So we click that 4 times, 1, 2, 3, 4. You see each one has a number here. Now select the first layer, number 1, and what we're going to do is go to filters, distorts, and right at the bottom here you've got wind. Pardon the phrase, and what we need to do now is select style as wind, direction we will leave, no in fact we'll change that to right, and the edge affected we will leave as leading. Then the threshold, change that to 5. You can either use the slider here or just type in a value, and the strength we will make 20, and then just click OK. So that's the first layer done. You can see already there's quite a nice wind effect there. Then I'd like you to go back to your layers window, click on the second layer here, and this time we're going to go to filters, distorts, wind, and instead of having direction as right, we're going to switch it to left and leave everything else the same, and then just click on OK. Now we click on the third layer, and the process for this one is slightly different, and we need to go to Layer, Transform, and rotate 90 degrees clockwise here. Now again we're going to go to Filters and Distorts, and back down to our favourite here, Wind, and we are going to leave it exactly as it is, completely untouched, and just click OK. But now there's another step that we need to do before we're done with this layer, and that is to rotate it back the way it was. So we go down to, so you go to Layer at the top, Transform, and then rotate 90 degrees counterclockwise, like that. Now go to the fourth layer, and again click on Layer, Transform, rotate it 90 degrees clockwise. Then we go to Filters, Distorts, Wind, and this time change the direction to right. Leave everything else the same and just click OK. And then final stage for this layer is to rotate it back 90 degrees counterclockwise. So, sorry, let me do that again. So it's Layer, Transform, 90 degrees counterclockwise. Now right now everything's a bit of a blur, so we need to make it clearer. So the first stage is to click back on our layers window here, click on your original image, which is this one here. It hasn't got a number by it, and what we want to do is move this to the very top. And the way to do this, once it's highlighted, is just to click on the arrow here and it will move it up to the top. That's it. Now, if you're using a PC, you need to right click on your original image here and select Alpha to Selection. But I'm using a Mac here, so the process is slightly different. And if you're using a Mac, you'll need to go to Layer, Transparency, and then select this one here, Alpha to Selection. Now I'd like you to go to Select and Grow. And we need to grow this selection by 2 pixels, so just change that to a 2 and click OK. The next step is to create a new layer, and you can either do that on this window here by selecting this icon here, or you can go to Layer, New Layer. It doesn't make any difference, and you'll see you can then give it a name if you like. I don't think there's any need necessarily. I'm just going to keep this as New Layer. Click OK, and you'll see in this window here, there's your new layer. Now what we need to do is move that layer below our original image, which is this one here. So make sure new layer is selected, and then just click on the down arrow once, and that will put it below your original image. Now we need to go back to the bucket tool, which is this one here if you remember, and we need to make sure that the color is black. So we're going to flip that back to black. By the way, you don't have to use black as a background, but a dark colour is recommended. But obviously, say you used a dark blue in your original background here, then you would select that same colour here, if that makes sense. Okay, so once you've got that selected as black and you've got your bucket fill tool, simply click on your text here and you should see it's become clearer now. Now click select at the top here and choose none, and that will deselect everything. So we're almost done now. Next thing to do is click on filters and blur and choose Gaussian blur here. Just leave the settings as they are and click OK, and that just kind of softens it up a little bit. So now go back to your layers window, and on your keyboard you need to hold down Ctrl and M at the same time to merge the layers, or flatten the layers I think it's called. So layers merge options here, just leave it as it is, click merge, and then it's all a single background. So that's pretty much it. One more thing you can do if you like is to play around with the colours. So if you select the colours menu here, the top three menu items are the ones to concentrate your attention on. If you select colorize, for instance, you can see that the colour has changed there, and you can simply move the sliders along and play around with it until your heart's content. One final thing you can do, if you want to use these images for your Facebook banners, the current Facebook standard for image size is 97 by 68 pixels. Now Facebook does automatically crop and resize your images, but if you want the text to appear exactly in the middle of the image like this, then you can resize the image to fit the Facebook standards, and you simply do that by clicking on image and go to scale image, and then you need to unlink this chain here by clicking on it, and that means you can set the width and the height independently. So if we change the width to 97 pixels and the height to 68, that will then be perfect for a Facebook banner. And then click on scale, and although it's very small, it will look better on Facebook. And then all you need to do is go to File and save it. Save it as a JPEG image or a PNG. So if you go down to the bottom here, you can select file type by extension. I'll just select a JPEG. By the way, if you want to keep this file for editing at a later stage, you can save it as a Gimp XCF image. But what I'm looking for is a JPEG right now, so I can upload it to Facebook. So JPEG image, at the top here you can give it a name, you can call it whatever you like, 30 DTS image for instance, and then just save it somewhere, somewhere where you can find it for uploading to Facebook. And that's it. So I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. If you did, please take the time to visit my website, which is 30daystosuccess.com, or you can follow me on Twitter at 30daystosuccess. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to let me know, and I'm more than happy to help in any way I can. But thanks for listening, and I'll speak to you soon. Take care for now. Bye bye.